All right, I forgot about the last ceiling here in the other video, so we're going to do that real quick and then take a look at light fixtures. So for this one, I was going to do something similar to this, just kind of showing an offset. If you quickly wanted to sketch something like that in, so let's say our first one will be the soffit going around, so I'll use the rectangle. Then if I have a 2-foot offset all the way, soffit all the way around, I'll change my offset to 2. Then quickly use that same border, hit space bar to go to the inside. And then finish that, and then I will switch that to my jip. And then let's drop that to 7 feet, say. Come back in and sketch another ceiling here. All right, so this will be the similar thing where I will have a gap there. And I'll want to make sure that those are attached. So I would come back in and use my wall command, finish face exterior, and then make sure that it's on the side of the soffit, connecting the two. And then for this, even do it from the RCP plan. If I say attach top base, I want to attach the base. And no, it won't let me do it. Okay, so we do have to do the section. I thought I found a new shortcut. But I'll just use sections here. Whoops, that's what happens when you attach the top. Undo that. So I'm going to attach the base. Attach the base. So that takes care of 2 of them. You can see in the floor plan that these other 2 are still all the way down. You can see in the RCP, you can still see them here as well. So for that, would need a different section. Cutting the other direction. See if it'll let me. Oh, it'll do it. You can do it 1 by 1. Nope. Oh, I just did the top again. 1 second. Touch base. Yeah, so you can do it in the RCP. You just have to do it 1 by 1, not all 4 like I did before. So you don't necessarily have to have the 2 sections, but or you can do it in section if that's easier to visualize. And now I'll go back to that 3D view, and that's all cleaned up. All right, so pretty quick, easy way if you have kind of a raised or vaulted ceiling, you can model those in accordingly in Revit. I'm going to go ahead and delete these sections now. All right, now let's take a look at placing some light fixtures. So to do that, you're going to go to the Insert tab, Load Family, and then again, as I'm sure you're getting used to, this part is broken on my computer right now. So what you're going to see is something similar to this here. So I am going to go back. You would come in right about here. So you're going to go down to lighting, and then you're going to go to architecture. And then from there, there's externals. That's more of external building lighting versus internal. All right, so that is, then you're going to see all the different types of lights that we can load in here. So I'm just going to pick a few. I'm going to do the downlight recessed can. And then I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to open them for you. You will just say, you'll select them here and then you'll hit open, and then it will load them in. I'm going to have to open them family by family and load them in, but that's okay. I'm also going to bring in one of these floor lamps so we can take a look at that. I'm going to load a pendant, so you guys can just pick any of these to practice with. And I'm going to load one of these troffer lights. I'm actually going to load the 2x2 and the 2x4. All right, so with that, I'm then going to load these in. So if you ever open up a family file independent of a Revit project, this is what it's going to look like. You'll notice that the Revit projects are a .rvt when you have them saved versus the families, which are a .rfa. So that's a good way to distinguish between the two. Now, if I were to hit WT right now and then zoom see them all, you'll see this is my project. Each one of these is an individual family. So I can also track what I have open here. It's going to show me all of my families and projects that I've opened. So to get a family into a project this way, I'm going to hit load into project and close. So that's the downlight recessed can. You can see the family name up here at the top. So I'm going to select which one's going into. I'm going to put it into the project here, which is project 2. And that puts me immediately into the command to place that. I'm going to go ahead and load all the families, and then we'll take a look at placing those objects. All right. Now, let's take a look at placing some of these. So I'm going to go to they are loaded just as families. They are a component. So I'm going to go to my architecture tab to place a component. This is a floor lamp, so I probably want to place that in my floor plan view. So we can just place a couple of those here. Then I'll go back to my ceiling plan to place anything that's hosted. You'll notice that that floor lamp was not hosted in anything, so I was able to place it in any view. But the recessed cans, let's go with our go with a 8-inch recessed can here. You'll notice if I hover outside of a ceiling, I cannot place it. So it is a ceiling hosted item. So this would be something that you might have in, let's say, this soffit here. They don't line up very well together when you're clicking and placing them, but we can take a look. Oops, I just put it right in the wall. Not something you'd want to do, but if it's a little bit off, we'll talk about how we can line that up. Oh, now it made me unjoin it, so I'm gonna undo that. And then also they might need some or one here in that room. So let's say we have like 4 here. So typically, especially with the recessed cans, you have to come back and do a little bit of cleanup work. But I think easy ways to modify them, well, let's get it kind of set up first. I like to use the dimensions to help do that. So just tabbing to be able to select what I want there. And there is a center line in here. So if I get one of these set and I see it equals, now it's equal between the edge of the soffit. I can unconstrain that. But then I can use that in the line tool. I'm typing A there. That's a shortcut that I have set up for a line. The default shortcut, is A. So there you go. So it's A, and then first click is what you want to align to. Second click what you're aligning. And it is set to a multiple alignment right now, so I can do multiples at once. Then I would come back, and I always like that to go to wall faces. It's a little bit faster. And come back and get the center lines going this way. And then I'll hit equal here, and that can really quickly and easily center them on the room for me. I'll go ahead and unconstrain that. Same thing with this one here. I would do this. Oh, that one was already correct. I just hit escape to get out of that. And that one's a little bit off, so I would equal it that way. I use the line tool a lot when placing lighting fixtures and adjusting these elements. Excuse me, go back to placing a component. Let's look at one of the troffers. All right, so we have a 2x2 that I would use with the 2x2 ceiling. It's pretty hard to line it up. Revit, just because it's a model pattern, it can't associate to it that way. So I typically place one, and then I would align it. Shortcut A there. And once I have it aligned, whoops, there first, then there. Once I have it aligned, then I would use my copy tool. And also, so I'll select my light fixture, and then I would use copy. And then first, so I'll use the grids as a reference. So first click on the grid, then second click to the other grid that I want it to go to. That way they stay in alignment together. You can kind of use the grid as the reference to quickly place them. So I can select both of these now. I could use my copy command. If I want to put 2 right here also, again, I'll use that grid as a reference. So I'll click on the grid and then pull to the next grid. So I know that I'm keeping it in alignment with the grid. Let's go ahead and use one of the 2x4s. You also can't rotate. Spacebar normally rotates things. You'll see I was trying to hit spacebar there in the background. It's not going to do anything. So if my light fixture is not going with the ceiling grid, I need to place it, select it, rotate it. All right, and then I would use my align tool here to get that set up. And then from there, I would use my copy command to space them throughout the room. And then if I have a really large expanse, let's say I'm going to move all this stuff over. So we have a really long room here. I'm going to adjust that boundary, use that align command. All right, so if I have a really big room with these lighting fixtures, the array tool can be really helpful to lay these out really quickly. So if I hold down Control, select all 3 of these at once, I can use that array command, shortcut AR. And I'm going to leave it at move to second. Remember that saying move to second means that it's going to keep the set spacing in between each array. So I'm going to start with the back grid here. And let's say I need to move it forward. Well, we'll do this. Again, this is not saying this is the layout for the lighting, just using it as to show you how you could lay it out once you would have appropriate lightings. Of course, that would need, all sorts of calculations and things to be run. So let's go grid to grid, 6 foot. Now I have an array. So if I wanted to, if I need 8 rows of that, I can very quickly lay out the lighting in the space with that command. And we'll take a look at the pendant over in this space. All right, so you drop a couple of those in. I'm going to go back to my floor plan view here to create some 3D views. Okay, so now we can see our light fixtures in here. And there's our lamps. And then let's go ahead and change that. All right, so there you go. Let's take a look at our pendants here. And some pendants, so it might be, we'll pretend it's dropped over a conference room table or something like that. So we have our soffit running around the outside and our pendants here in the middle. And then these other ones are pretty unexciting. They're going to be pretty small, but you would just see the recessed can. We could try to do one closer. It might be easier to see it in the soffits. There you go. So you can see those recessed cans in the soffits there. Sometimes this pendant isn't doing it. Let me see if one of these other ones is the one that, some of them are what are called plane-based families. So that means instead of being, or plane hosted, if you will, so instead of being ceiling hosted, they are, that was not very exciting. They host to a plane, so sometimes they can be hard to place in a ceiling view. So if that does happen, then what you're going to want to do, I'll just show you another way to place them. Let's see, maybe this one will do it. Yeah, okay, so this one here, so you can see up here at the top, it says place on vertical face. So right now it's gonna actually would like be trying to host to a wall. So two different ways to do it. You can say just place on face, and then that should set it up so that it would be going to a ceiling plan. Or if you have a 3D view open, there is a command called the section box. And that section box is going to be here on the properties bar, section box here. And you can adjust that, what you can see in the model in that section box. You see the levels adjust automatically with that. If you want those off, you need to hide them separately. But it's going to adjust what you can see in the model. So if you get stuck with a lighting family, you can always come into a 3D view with the section box like this, and then just, actually click on the face of the ceiling. We've had that happen with some families before. You'll also notice with your 3D view that until we had ceilings, we were used to just going to the 3D view and being able to see all the way down. So two ways to get that visibility back. First way is to turn on the section box and adjust it, kind of square that view up, and you could adjust it below your lowest ceiling. But like this, you might be cutting off some other model elements you wanted to see. So another option, I just hit Control Z to undo that, is to go into your visibility graphics. And remember all those categories that Revit have that you're getting used to seeing in the library as well, same way that it's sorted visibility graphics. So I know I've put in lighting fixtures and I know I've put in ceilings. So I could turn both of those off, and that's going to hide those elements. You're of course still going to see the walls that you're using to, in between the ceilings, because they're a different category. But you'll notice even those floor lamps, which is something you might think of as, furniture, are going to get turned off because they are categorized as a lighting fixture in Revit. I'll go ahead and undo that. And all of these lights do have, by default, they have a light source built into them, which you can use for rendering, which we will talk about down the line. But just know when you are looking at it in the 3D view, this glow that it's showing is related to that light source. And that's it for this video for light fixtures.